now that Hannah Claire has made her point known that Disney is an awful company, we are going to continue talking about Disney's no good, very bad week. First, it was Jonathan Majors. Now we've got Victoria Alonso, which has all been playing out over the last couple of weeks. Basically, what has happened is she breached her contract producing a movie called Argentina 1985 in 2022. It took years to produce before that. And she wanted to make this movie. Disney said, you can't make this movie. She made it anyways. They renegotiated her contract, let her make it. They said, but you can't promote the movie. She promoted it anyways. And now she's using her identity status, her various identity characteristics as a bludgeon in the media to try and get Disney to pay out to her because they did not pay out upon firing her.
Were they just mad because it was being produced by Amazon Studios?
Because it wasn't a Disney. In her contract,
she's in breach of contract.
Yeah, she's in breach of contract.
They're not totally being unreasonable in that one.
No, they're being completely reasonable in this case. But they, even after she did this, they renegotiated the contract in a way that would allow her to do it and said, but you can't be visible and promote it. Yeah, but she just said, the hell with you guys, I'm promoting it anyways.
Well, this is what her attorney said to The Hollywood Reporter. The idea that Victoria Alonso was fired over a handful of press interviews relating to a personal passion project about human rights and democracy. Okay, this is already preachy.
Yep.
That was nominated for an Oscar.
Again, why does Disney? Why the hell would Disney
that would not help Disney. It's nominated for an Oscar that we won't get credit for.
And which she got Disney's blessing to work on only after she was in breach of contract is absolutely ridiculous. Victoria, a gay Latina who had the courage to criticize Disney, was silenced. Then she was terminated when she refused to do something she believed was reprehensible. Disney and Marvel made a really poor decision that will have serious consequences. There's a lot more to this story, and Victoria will be telling it shortly in one form or another.
In another documentary.
Yes, about her. Well, she's got a book coming out.
Well, yes, I didn't realize this, but she has a memoir that's coming out later this year called Possibility is Your Superpower. Could you be more precious and sentimental? Yeah. It's almost nauseating.
Also, guys, before we continue, could you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel, please? Thank you very much. And remember, we will interrupt any and all discussions, no matter how in-depth they may be, to read your $20 super chats if you do have them. She also, one of the big things they point out is that she was very critical of Bob Chapek for not doing enough during the Disney's initial ignoring of Don't Say Gay.
It's easy for you to say that from the sidelines.
Exactly.
You know, so I guess she said this at the GLAAD Awards last year.
Yes.
If you're a member of the LGBTQIA community and you work at the Walt Disney Company, the last 2 or 3 weeks have been a sad event, referring to the Don't Say Gay bill. I've asked Mr. Chapek for courage in a 45-minute sit-down. I asked him to look around and truly, if what we sell is entertainment for the family, we don't choose what family. Yeah. Family is this entire room. Family is the family in Texas, Arizona, Florida, and in my family, in my home. So I ask you again, Mr. Chapek, please respect, if we're selling family, take a stand against all these crazy, outdated laws. Take a stand for family. Stop saying that you tolerate us. Nobody tolerates me, let me tell you that.
Well, they don't
That's
tolerate
a Freudian slip if I ever heard one. You tolerate the heat in Florida, the humidity in Arizona or Florida. It's not humid in Arizona. The dryness in Arizona and Texas, and you tolerate a tantrum in a 2-year-old. This is literally what you're doing, chick. But you don't tolerate us. We deserve the right to live, love, and laugh. Sorry, to have, more importantly, we deserve an origin story.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
That doesn't mean anything.
I think she's saying because like the bill, which is actually the Parental Bill of Rights, is saying you're not supposed to teach like political history, basically.
Yeah.
Like she's saying you're not letting us say where gay people come from and therefore you're bigoted.
If you can tolerate a tantrum from a 2-year-old, she asks, why not tolerate a tantrum from me, a 52-year-old?
Yep. Raising the stakes even further, a Disney spokesperson fired back at her attorney's claims, saying it's unfortunate that Victoria is sharing a narrative that leaves out several key factors concerning her departure, including an indisputable breach of contract and a direct violation of company policy. The spokesperson told the Times, they said, we will continue to wish her best for her future and thank her for her numerous contributions to the studio. While they're like, just like, Disney's like with their unending just parade of lawyers.
No, I think it's funny because they have to be like, they put this position position where they like have to protect and praise certain people no matter what.
Yep.
So even though they're like, she 110% violated the contract that we negotiated for her after she violated her original contract. But anyway, she's really contributed, and we're very grateful to have worked with her. Like, it's such a bizarre position to be in. I mean, I don't understand how she justified it, right? Like,
she's a gay Latina making a passion project that got an Oscar. Or sorry, was nominated for an Oscar.
If she felt like this was her passion project and it was getting that much attention, like, then leave Disney. Be like, yeah, you're right. I'm in violation of contract. I'll see you guys later. I can't stay here.
Whenever someone has the confidence to be this outwardly stupid, I'm always like astounded.
Yeah. Well, she's made a lot of money, and I'm sure she's got more than enough to cover her stupidity. But what they're saying here basically is that she can pretend it's about being silenced. She can pretend it's about this and that. What it comes down to is money. They fired her without pay. I love the idea also that when you're at a certain tax bracket, you're just expected to get a severance package. Like most people, when you get fired, you get fired without pay. But when you're a Disney executive, you're gonna usually get a severance package of some sort. But if she's in breach of contract,
she'll be just fine.
Yeah, it says Puck News says beyond Glacier dropping a headline generation bomb on Friday that a gay Latina was silenced for speaking out against her company's handling of Florida's Don't Say Gay bill. It's simply a money fight.
But that's not really what it was.
No, it's
right?
not. What is interesting this article points out is that Disney could have simply ended the battle by paying Alonso, but Disney chose not to do that.
She's just weaponizing her sexuality and her nationality.
I mean, she is telling you, she's definitely reinforcing the point that if you're the first one to control the narrative, you're going to win, right? Yeah. This is about Disney. Basically, they're implying Disney's homophobic by silencing this gay person when actually she's in complete violation of her contract and it has nothing to do with her sexuality at all. It has to do with the fact that she is not supposed to be doing certain things by the bounds of her agreement with the company.
One of the other thing that was interesting that was pointed out in the Puck News article is that they say that she never had much power at Disney, that was kind of a facade. They said she had a habit of belittling behavior towards vendors and relentless self-promotion, which is everybody.
No, this girl self-promotion?
I know, right?
But also they said she would blacklist anyone who crossed her or opposed her in any way. I don't know what that means exactly, but...
Are you saying that a gay Latina woman is emotionally unstable?
And catty? They just can't even understand.
It's actually...
You're telling me this woman behaved super emotionally and vindictively. I just can't put it together.
I don't see it.
I just think that's crazy.
It's why, toxic males are actually make better CEOs. Look at Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon was a horrible human being who would do business with anybody, no matter how bad they had talked about each other in the past. If you could make the company money, there was a possibility you were coming back to do business with WWE. It doesn't matter what you said. Like, you could have said the most heinous things about Vince, his daughter, his wife. As long as you were going to bring them a profit, he didn't care. Like, you're coming back, and they will bring you back. I just don't know if Victoria Alonso would have been able to behave with the same kind of ruthless capitalist aggression.
No, she can't. I mean, if she really thought this project was worth it, she would have been able to see, hey, if I think it's worth promoting, I'm going to lose out on this payout, right? Yeah. She could have, tried to work out a deal where she leaves and she gets some kind of severance, but instead she's like thrown herself into this very strange mess because she decided she was above the rules.
What's also interesting about this situation is she seems to, I guess, have a level of contempt for the content that she was overseeing at Marvel.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, I wouldn't feel any differently, I guess, if I were head of the VFX department for Marvel and realized how soulless that content really is, looking at it from the inside. But the fact that she has this passion project of hers on the side that is totally on the other side of the spectrum, and it's like super, like takes itself super seriously as like an art project.
Here's the problem.
It's like she's trying to like ride off of the salary and the security of the vehicle that being an employee, an executive at Disney gives her, but use it to make content that's nothing like what Disney would fund or produce. And she's appearing at the Oscars not as a Marvel executive, but as the filmmaker of Argentina 1985.
And as a woman.
Which shows, yes, and as a gay Latina,
Woman.
which shows where her loyalties truly lie.
It's also
she's
funny-
just being entitled. She thinks that she deserves the salary. Disney is lucky to have her. Marvel is lucky to have her, but also she should be allowed to do whatever she wants. That her project should be more important than any legally binding agreement that she has, and her interest should always come first. And Disney should put her interests above their company, which is a ridiculous way to operate.
Dude, but I feel like this is the psychology of all the protected classes right now.
Yeah.
Like anytime any of them get any minor push, it's like, well,
Yeah.
You're targeting me because of my identity, which
Yeah.
I am the
You
only one
always
who's brought
know-
up in this conversation.
You have that safety net behind you if you act like this. She was behaving this way, doing multiple violations of her contract because she knew that she had this to fall back on, her identity to fall back
But
on.
they legitimately think that it's like the royal flush of arguments. It's like, oh, well, minority.
This is not new to Disney. Marvel Comics has their own version of Victoria Alonso named Sana Amanat, who's very much in the same category. Never cared
Maybe
about
they
the source
should
material.
be business partners.
Well, and this is probably not the first time, right? Like, she
No.
didn't just one day decide to do this one violation of contract. If we have this reputation of her as being difficult and vindictive, I suspect that she has conducted herself badly in the business for a long time.
Yeah.
This idea, like, what was she promoting during all this self-promotion? She has put herself first at every turn. She's difficult to work with. Disney probably doesn't really want her around anyways. And then on top of that, she has no respect for the business that's theoretically supporting her.
And they said that she clashed both with Kevin Feige and with Alan Bergman. And Alan Bergman is Kevin Feige's boss. And Kevin Feige was her boss. Alan Bergman was his boss.
But she hasn't been fired through any of this. And
yeah.
that's probably because they've been like, well, we got to keep her around. There's a reason we have to keep her around.
Yeah.
And Chapek is Bergman's?
Well, not Chapek
Or how many
anymore.
degrees
It would
of
have been,
separation
It would have been
are there
Iger.
here?
It would have been Iger after that. So yeah. So
Then
so,
Iger, then
yeah.
Chapek.
No, Chapek's gone. So at that time, it would have been Chapek.
Oh,
but yeah,
Chapek, then
But
Iger.
it would be Iger now when she was fired. So yeah, it's why you don't hire activists. I don't think it got them any good. Another thing that annoys me about like how you framed it, like she had her passion project, is that her job could easily be done by people who have a passion for the source material, who could do an infinitely better job than she could.
But they're not as fun and diverse as she
But
is.
they don't have the social credit. They don't provide the social credit that she provides for them. So it's a shame, but it's also like when companies get to be as big as Disney and Marvel are, which is an unwieldy force now, you have to admit that there's always probably going to be bad actors that end up working for these companies. But that's how it started, right? They got activists who would get in at mid-level positions, either in hiring.
It's activist, like it's
She's
just
an activist.
I think it's just entitlement.
I think she's an
think
activist and she's self-entitled.
I think this is completely self-entitled. Like, it's so obvious that Disney's contract makes sense, right? Tons of companies have non-compete clauses. Like, not a big deal. They did her a favor by renegotiating it, even though she was already in violation. And she thinks that whatever she's doing, she could be making a documentary on literal paint drying, and she would be like, the work that I'm doing is so important, and how could you do this to me, a diverse woman of color? Like, it doesn't matter what the cause is. It's not about the activism. It's about the fact that she is doing it and she feels as though she should not be stopped. And that's, like, to me, one of the issues that we have generally with the morality in modern culture, right?
Yeah.
Like, self-entitlement is so rampant that you can't see where the boundaries of logic pen you in.
And in like it's a lot of it's probably like ends justify the means. She's like, yes, I didn't get permission to do this. Yes, I'm in
But
breach
this
of my
story
contract.
is so important to be told by me.
So important. When the real answer should be, yes, I didn't get permission to do this. Yes, this story is important. Therefore, I will quit my job and go produce it because I actually believe in what I'm doing. But that
She's
would require-
Argentinian, right?
She's
Or
Argentinian.
Argentine.
Argentine.
Imagine the strength of doing that.
Of like leaving the
If
Marvel.
she was genuinely about that life, it's like, listen, this is so important
Well,
for me.
she's
Like,
putting
this
down-
paycheck means nothing.
Yeah, she's like putting down the superhero movies in the process of praising her own work. She said, I've made a lot of stories about superheroes, and I've always wanted to tell a story about what happened in Argentina because I should have been one of those 30,000 people. She's referring to the disappearance of 30,000 people under this dictatorship. And it's literally like, I don't think you would have been one of those 30,000 people. It's weird to wish that you had been, but realistically, based on your personality, you would have been one of the dictators or tyrants in this situation. That's exactly how you act, but on a smaller scale.
I think if she felt like this story was important to her culturally, if she felt like she identified with the missing people, great, super cool. Go work on that, right?
Yeah.
There's no reason that you should feel entitled to the salary and the job because of your identity, right? I'm not a huge fan of Disney, but obviously any company that has a major project would expect the people who are working on it to be dedicated to it. They can't put their self-interest above the things that the company needs to get done. Yeah. And if you want to, that's fine. Just go independent or go work with a producer that's really interested in producing that story. To say that like your project and your own self-promotion are more important than everyone else on the team who relies on you, because she's sort of a linchpin, it seems like, in this universe of Marvel, or the structure of Marvel. Like, it's just so ridiculous to me.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.